Welcome back, fellow shop rats. It's time to spend some more time with me here in the shop. Remember, on this channel, we're not so much about doing accomplishable projects as we are taking little bites at a time, and you get to spend the day with me in the shop doing whatever it is I'm doing. Well, today, we're going to start working on the passenger side floor pans for the Stitches Challenge.
This is my car's shop.
The biggest challenge that I have today is it is freaking cold. The heat has been on out here in the shop for nearly 3 hours, and it's a little over 40 degrees. So that really limits what I can do. Today was supposed to be a day that I was working on the 86 Dodge truck. There is no way that I can do body work when the shop is this cold. Fortunately, we're going to warm up next week and be into the 40s, and we'll be able to move on. The second challenge is because it's cold and snowy out, I can't put the Oakland outside. So we're really limited on shop space and what we can do. So I thought this is a great day to get back on Stitches. I haven't worked on it for a few weeks. You guys haven't seen anything on it for a few weeks, and the numbers show me that it is your favorite project here on the channel. If I'm honest, it's pretty much my favorite one too. So it doesn't take a lot of arm twisting. The second thing, or the third thing that I'm dealing with, is I'm just burnt out. I'm exhausted and I don't feel like doing much of anything, but I need to accomplish something. I want to give you guys some content, and I need to do something to move forward on the project. One of the things that I try to do here is just give you the reality of what it's like to be grinding on projects all the time, and what it takes to really continue to turn out a product and keep moving forward, one bite at a time. So we could stand here talking about it, or I could just shut up and we could work. So let's shut up. Well, you're not talking, I am. But I'll shut up and we can keep working. Don't need to keep talking all day long. I feel like it's big progress, because the first thing we're going to do is move our purple head cushions over there, because we're done on this side for now. So that's a good thing. Some of you guys have been asking why we haven't been turning out any content on the Oakland, and it's been for a couple of reasons. One, we've had, even though we're into February now, and this is actually March when you're seeing this, we have had holidays and weather, and Dad's been not feeling well for a couple weeks. He's fine, there's nothing serious, but you know, we just need to wait. And I did get the glass cut for all the doors, and it's here. So as soon as he's back on his feet again, probably in another week, we will be back on that project. So thanks for asking. Everything's okay. It's starting to feel like today is going to be one of those days. I've been recording and the battery in my microphone died, so we have to do things over again. Fortunately, I wasn't doing any work. I was just talking. So what I was saying was I have to decide what I'm doing here. I hate to replace good metal, and you can see we've got some good metal there, and good metal up in here, and we got some holes there. I could patch all of that, which is tempting. But the downside of that is that doesn't give me access to the frame rail to get things cleaned out inside and rust treat that. But then again, I'm not going to get all of that done anyway on the inside, because I can't access most of it. So I've got decisions to make, and I got to figure out what I'm doing. I've got some temptations, and I got some thoughts, and I even have some feelings. I know that surprises some of you that I actually have feelings, but so I gotta cogitate for a while and just think about how I want to do. So it'll take me a while, but I'm quite sure that you'll know in just a minute the direction I'm going. I've spent some time thinking, and I'm going to go ahead and make that whole toe board. I'm probably not going to bring it all the way over in here, because this is still good over here, but I think I'll go ahead and we'll fabricate that piece, and then we'll fabricate a piece to go down in here as well. I might as well just make that whole thing. I think that makes the most sense. So I got to get some cardboard and make a template or something, and come up with some dimensions, and go get a piece of metal, and we'll start fabricating that piece. The question I've got is, am I going to take it off the lip or just cut it across and weld it? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm trying to think of what's the simplest. So that's part of the process here, is sharing my thought processes with you. Is what am I thinking? Do I go ahead and drill out my spot weld holes up there and take that piece out, you know, like that, or do I cut it across the top and just spot weld it there or lap weld it, which is what I'm tempted to do. I'm trying to think of the simplest. Remember, this is a stitches. It's not a restoration concourse, blah, blah, blah. It's just a driver. So we just want to keep the water and the mud from splashing up in people's faces and put some structural integrity back in the car. I've got my cardboard piece there. I got it lined out where I'm going to cut it. And I did take my fingers and put the little thingathongas in there so that we know where those go. Ballparkish will measure them out better, but you get the idea there anyway. So we'll cut that up now, and then I left it extra long in case I decide I want to put the bend on it, which the way I'm feeling today, I'm feeling lazy and don't want to, but what I should do is probably do that. So again, transparency in my thought processes, because I'm in a mental battle today because I don't feel like doing anything. But just doing this little bit right here, actually, I felt just a, like a 0.1% increase in my motivation. Using my new little welding area here. Now I can take those silhouettes that I made and kind of get a ballpark on where these things are here. I feel like it goes across about right there, which makes some sense. All we're trying to do is make a reasonable representation of what the factory did. We're not trying to make it perfect, we're just trying to make it done. Okay, let's see if my dimensions are right. Six and a half, I think. 6.5, okay. Very good. So we know that our lines are ish. Okay, we'll lay that out better on the metal, but we get the idea where they're at anyway. That's the main thing. So, and then of course we know we'll have a bend up here, but we'll do that later. I just want to be sure we had enough material down here. And I don't think we do, so when I lay this out on the metal, I'll give myself another inch or so, just to be safe. So I got to go find a piece of, probably going to use 20 gauge on this, since it's floor pan. That's what I generally make my floor pans out of. So I'll be right back with a piece of metal. I'm going to find a nice little piece of 20. It's going to do the job. I'll get this laid out here. Don't worry about that. Well, I'll be a suck egg mule. Yeah. I'm trying to decide if I want to. Yeah, I guess so. I might as well make it a little bit longer. Just bring this straight across here like this. It's a heat wave. Crazy, crazy. Heat's been on out here for 4 hours. It was 20 when I came out. It is just cold out. So I got my piece all cleaned up and cut up and ready to rock and roll here. And I'm just going to lay this out here ish, and then we'll start kind of figuring out where our lines are going to go in there and stuff like that. These lines this way, I believe, were the top and the bottom of the yeah, those are the top and the bottom of the for the the bead rolls is what I'm trying to say. So I want to get those lights transferred over onto my metal and start laying out where our beads are going to be rolled into this piece. Thought I would show you. So I went over and measured in the car, and it was 6 inches. So this was just a little bit wide because it was just a guess here on this. And then these are 1.25 inches apart. So I was trying to figure out how I was going to get the layout, and I realized, well, just fold this over and just kind of, you know, we'll tweak them, but at least I know about where they go. That's the main thing. So then we'll just use a square to draw them down. But I want to make sure that they are indeed 1.25 inches apart. 1.25 inches, 1.25 inches, 1.25 inches-ish, close enough. 1.25 inches. Okay, so we're good. So let's got to switch over to a Milwaukee marker. This is not going to last. Sharpies are not good for this. These things, this one's dried out now, but these Milwaukee markers are the best markers ever. They write on grease crazy good. So I've only got a couple left, but I'm sure there are 25 of them kicking around here in the shop somewhere. But I only got 2 new ones left, so we'll start with a new one. It'll be fine. It's been a while since I shared this level of detail with you, so I thought today was a good day to do that. Now this is the bottom of the bead, okay? There we go. Another important thing, okay, and so that's the top, and let's see, meaning that this is the top obviously, but that's the top, and this is the rear. So I know this is the top side, and that points towards the rear of the car. That means that's the hump, and that's the door. So let's take it over to the car, kind of lay it in place, and make sure everything looks copacetic and not so pathetic. Gonna look pretty respectable. I think it's good. So I think we'll go ahead and pre-stretch that and get ready to roll our beads, because we're getting close to, you know, we're getting close is what I'm saying. So I gotta go dig out the bead roller and do some setup and find a spot and move stuff around, and well, there's just gonna be stuff. So the next thing I want to do is transfer these lines to the other side so I can pre-stretch this metal to keep this thing from turning into a big tortilla. It's gonna do some because I don't have an English wheel, but if I turn this over and peen this the opposite way of the way I'm going to roll that bead, it will help keep this from tortilla-ing as much. Of course, once we bend up here, and we can put that on the shrinker stretcher and help pull that into place. But for now, this is the way I'm going to do this. So I need to just. So you don't need to watch me drill holes, but just explaining what I'm doing. The holes were drilled from this side, so I know where these lines are. Then I was able to flip it over so I could run those lines here. So now I will take and just pre-stretch this that way a little bit. And I think what will happen too when I roll the bead is it's going to stretch this way like this. So I'm going to stretch this metal a little bit like this as well. I'll do that by hand. Okay, there we go. So that's got a little pre-stretch that way. Now we'll go ahead and pound this in here just with the back of a ball peen hammer and get that pre-stretched the other way before we go ahead and run the beads on this side. So you can see now that our piece has got a big U to it, And hopefully now I didn't go too much, but it'll be all right one way or another. We'll go through now and we'll bead roll this, and that should cause it to shrink the other way, and this should come out fairly flat. I never have been real good at getting the exact amount of stretch done, and I probably shouldn't have bent it like I did in the beginning, but let's just pretend that that's right. So let's go do some bead rolling. Yeah, we can do them all. I think I'm going to start in the middle and just work my way out. Off just a little bit. There we go. That's pretty good there. I need my blonde motor unit. Okay, and then we take this edge right out pretty much to the center of the line, so that's where our, just a little bit back, but you can see that then it ends up being where our taper up is. So I'm not quite to the center, I'm coming like right into here. Like it's one more twist. Gonna be a lot of lather, rinse, and repeat, but you can see it's starting to tortilla back up now. We still got a little bit of twist, but it's not as bad as it could be. So I should have probably left it as pre-stretched as I did. I took some of it back out, and that was a mistake. But again, I'm not good at that. I'm always better at just straightening it out after it's done. So the next thing now I want to do, and this is the reason I decided to go ahead and do it with the bead up there with the edge, is I need to figure out where that bend is and get that bent, and then we can that down, and we can put that in the shrinker stretcher and get that straightened out significantly. Got our line there. We're going to bend that down now. That lip is too wide, but that's fine. We'll have to trim it back before we do some shrinking and stretching on this to get that flat, but that's no big deal. And yeah, it's looking good. So this is going to fit in the car pretty nice, I think. I could put another, another piece down here, but that's not factory. That's all one piece, so I don't want a seam where there isn't one. Not that I care about factory, but there could be interference fit with something underneath. Who knows? So we'll make that. It'll be fine. You'll see. It'll be fine. The other thing that I forgot is I got to put a transfer cut there and there, so I know where to bend it, because I got to bend it the other way. I can't see my line, and the sheet metal will break. So I put a little cut so I know where my line is. Cut there, cut there. I'll show you. So I put a little slit right there. It's hard to see, but there's a cut there. Okay, and I got one down here. So now I can flip this over, and I know exactly where my line is so that I can bend it. I'm not going to bother drawing that line because I can use those cuts to line everything up, and I'll know right where my bend needs to be. I will definitely be glad when summer's here, spring's here, and I don't need this stupid snowblower in the shop, but when you get snow, you got to have it. I'm sure my friends in Texas know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm just lining up. There we go. Cut and cut. And just a little Nova Scotia down there. There we go. Okay, I think we're good. Let's pull her up. I don't remember how much it needs to be, but I don't think it needs to be quite 90. We'll do it pretty much 90, and you can see already Now we're getting this straightened out pretty good. So we obviously got some waves down here. We got some oil canning going on, and that's fine. That's normal. Went along and shaved a 1/4 inch off of there now, so I can put that in the shrinker and the stretcher and just straighten that out a little bit and get some of that oil canning out of there. No big deal. Well, I think that's going to look fairly respectable. Didn't take too long to make, couple hours, not even, probably a couple hours. So I need to decide what I'm doing down here next. So that piece there. Yeah, I need to make all of that from over in there, up and around. Let me see what time it is and so forth, because I'm running out of time today. I don't know if I'll get that one done or not. It would be nice, but that's a fair job of work to make that. So, I mean, I've already made it once. You can see we made everything over there, and we made it exactly the same way. This piece that I just made is like that one there, except that has that hump over there, of course. And then this next piece that we're talking about is the one that I made that's right there. So we're pretty much, you know, lather, rinse, repeat. Shot her with the self-etch, and yes, I got runs in there apparently. Apparently I just don't know how to paint anymore. Both sides are done, so we're going to go over and stick this in front of the furnace and let her dry up. That's pretty well ready to put in there when we get a minute. I know it's not off, but it feels like it is, but it's because this is way over here. So there we go. That's where it'll be. And close enough, good enough, all that kind of stuff. So, oh, yeah. So the next thing now is this. So I think maybe I'm going to tackle that for the next episode, and we'll go from there. That's the way it goes when you spend the day in the shop. It's pushing dinner time, so I need to get in the house and get moving on stuff like that. But it's progress. So I'm sure tomorrow is going to be a little bit better, but I don't think the weather's going to be good enough that I can get it warm enough in here to paint. We're still only at, like, from what I'm seeing over there, just under 50. So that's not enough. I got to be at least 60 degrees before I can really do stuff and have things dry properly. So probably on our next one, we'll be back out here doing that next little piece down in the footwell below the toe board that we just made. I really try to convey that reality of what it takes. Now, one thing I wanted to mention, we spent a huge amount of time on the driver's side getting floor in. It took me a long time to do that. I don't remember when we put this on the rotisserie, but it feels like it was maybe late in the fall of 21. I think it was late in the fall of 21. So the car's been on the rotisserie a little over a year now. I feel like that. And it took us most of that time to get this floor done. But remember that there was a couple of snafus that we had. We were missing that transmission crossmember hoop. We didn't have that. We had to fabricate that, and I made it wrong. I was tied up waiting to get the 4-speed so that I could fit everything properly. We had to order the rods, shift rods for the 4-speed to make sure everything fit good with the shifter. There was just a lot of stuff in there that we had to do. We made the 4-speed hump as well. We don't have to do any of that on the other side as far as I know. I mean, you never know till you get into stuff, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be pretty straightforward. If I had another 2 hours today, we could have had that footboard done as well. I just don't have the time, and I'm not feeling the best today either, so I probably should quit while I'm ahead, try to get a good night's rest, and get back out here tomorrow to work on the next chunk. I really appreciate you being here. I try to convey, as I said, the realism of what it exactly takes to do all of this stuff, and especially when you're fabricating. Yeah, we could have went out and bought a floorboard and threw it in, blah, blah, blah. You've heard all that before. And we are doing that for the most part on the duster as inexpensively as possible. I'm doing a little fabrication over there. The other floorboard finally showed up for that. So as soon as that truck is done, that $500 paint job is done, if you haven't seen that series, check that out. We'll be back also working on the duster. And Dad, hopefully next weekend, Dad will be here and we can get working on the Oakland as well. That's going to do it for this one. We'll catch you on the next one. And like and subscribe and all that stuff, please. That would be very helpful. We're gaining new subscribers all the time. The channel's growing nicely, and I just want to see it keep going. And so we can do more things out here for you guys and with you guys. All right, we'll catch you on the next one.
You didn't think I forgot, did you?
Rock!